Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the best. This is their part number 9A0L1. This is what's called a Blockout Blade, is what it is. This is a very clever piece of locksmithing tool. It's a tool that you would use when you need to have some sort of a control over what key is being inserted into a cylinder, is what a blockout blade is used for. It could be used as a method of construction keying. You could insert this well, can you? You know what? You cannot, actually. Maybe you can. We're going to test that. It's not what it's meant for, but we'll look at it when we get to the cut sheet. But what it's absolutely used for is to prevent someone from inserting a key into a cylinder. And that is what a blockout does, a blockout blade. When this is inserted into a cylinder, and it's pushed down into the cylinder until it stops, it's going to physically prevent a key from being inserted because it's occupying the majority of the space of the broaching of the cylinder. Why would you do such a thing? Well, because you want to stop someone from sticking their key in there and opening that door. That's the bottom line. There is a counterpart tool to the blockout blade to remove the blockout blade, which is very typical. So what you might have is, a scenario where, and it depends on who you speak to about why someone might use this. If you have someone in a standard commercial setting where there's only a few offices, or you might have a problem as inane as someone stealing toilet paper, all the way up to a Big Ten university where there's countless master keys that have been sent out, passed out. There are students who are experiencing no shortage of mental brain capacity to understand how locks work and are opening up mechanical doors and turning off the power in an entire dorm building. So a blockout blade is really meant to prevent someone from putting a key in. You've got the removal tool, so you can control that right and privilege over when that gets used. It may not be readily obvious as to how to get that out with the right tool. It's in knowledge of how it works. It's easy to get it out, pull it out. That's what it's for. So you can temporarily disable a cylinder if you needed to, and then, for whatever reason. Maybe you need a day to get cameras installed. I don't know. But there's a reason you need the blockout blade, and it's really only meant to keep someone from putting their key in there. So this is the 9A0L1. Blockout blades would be available in different keyways, naturally. Now, the primary features on this is a plateau here. This will hold those pins up, but really what turns this into a component that is absolutely held in the cylinder is this negative rake that's here. There's going to be probably the third pin chamber that's going to fall right here, and trying to pull that blockout blade is not going to happen because that pin tumbler is going to hold it there. And then the subsequent pin tumblers will hold it there as well until you insert the tool, which will force those pins to come flush with a shear line and will allow you to pull that out with that small little hook that's there. Let's switch to the screen view and I can show you the supporting documentation on how this, at least what the other part looks like, and you can start to put it together. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Okay, here's the item that we are looking at, but let's take a look at some photographs that we have posted. That's what it looks like. An end profile showing the side opposite the thumb. Another end profile showing it a little bit closer of the L profile. The opposite side, that negative rake, that pin tumbler will sit in there. Let's kick that up a notch. I don't know absolutely that it's 2 pin chambers, but I imagine that it is. These are your control pins. And then just, you know, your driver, imagining a level 1 system. And then it carries on. Okay, same kind of situation. This is what is blocking that from being pulled out. That's why that's happening. That is a pretty dastardly way to prevent someone from getting their key to work. Don't do it unless you're in a position of authority to do that. Other images here, that shows the thumb side of the profile. Blurry, I understand, but it is what it is. That little hook here. And then the front of the blockout blade itself with that negative rake. Now there's also a link below this video to the cut sheet or technical manual. So this is a 9A0L1. So 9A is an extractor key and blockout blade. O, or 0, blockout blade. L keyway, and then it's blank. So 9A, blockout only, L keyway, it's blank. You wouldn't want a blockout blade cut. I suppose there might be a reason to have something cut and still be a blockout blade. Now, here is the 9A. Now you can see if you mate this into here, if I went through the effort of snipping both of these and overlaying them in AutoCAD, you'd see it differently. But this area overfits here. This entire profile, as you can see, is going to mate right here. Okay? And create the ability to push those pins up from here. So when that comes in, that blockout blade, okay, that sort of concept, these pins are all going to be pushed up, being shear, allowing you to pull the blade out, meaning it's moving this pin and the subsequent pins up and out of the way to pull out that that blockout is the bottom line. So if you've got the blockout blades, you probably need you certainly need the extractors or some tool that's going to do that job equally as well. This client didn't order any extractors, so they were obviously just looking for the blockout blades. You could, you know, concoct a couple of tools to make this work, I suppose. You certainly can, but it ain't worth the work. Just order the blockout extractor as well. Then it shows up in this cut sheet as a definition. The blade prevents any and all keys from being inserted in a core. A special extractor key must be used to remove that blockout blade from the keyway. Prevents keys from having access to a given entrance. This option is useful to have in case of a natural disaster or a specified job action such as a strike or lockout. Those are good examples. You know, you're keeping someone out for their own safety. You're keeping someone out because they're not permitted legally to trespass. It would be a way to do so. The last page. If no other measures can be taken, you can insert a keyway blockout blade into the core to prevent unauthorized entry. The blockout blade requires a special tool to remove it, etc. Okay. Now, there's a link below this video here to the manufacturer's page. And that would be the Stanley page that is here. Now, the name Stanley is Stanley, Dormakaba, Best, Precision. All of these names are under one umbrella. The manufacturer's page you'd want to go to would be Find Manufacturers in our site, and then do a find function on your keyboard for Best. Whoopsie. You'll find Best Access. That's the page you want. When that loads, you'll get to here. This is the Best Lock page in our site. where you'll be able to review not only all of the best products that we sell by means of this horizontal navigation, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog and some encyclopedic documents I'd like to point out to you. The Best Access Service Manual. This is over 1,000 pages, and those Blockout Blade excerpts came from that manual, so that's pretty important. When you call Best for help on a part number of a component, they are pulling up that service manual. Here's an A2 service manual if you need to learn how to pin small format in the A2 setting versus A3 or A4. There it is. There's an A4 system training along with A2. A3 is a system that they don't develop anymore, even though it is still out there. And then a quick reference to combinating best cores. If you bought an original best pin kit, this is going to be on the other side of the lid. Everything you need to know to pin best cores is literally on this page, even though you'd have to be pretty quick on your feet to really discern the math that governs it. Add 10 to the control key, subtract your pin total. That's your, that is your pin for the control shear line, the control log shear line. Take the pin total and that pin number, deduct 23, and that's your driver pin. So that's a very rudely quick way to go through it, but nonetheless, that's the math that's happening here. You've got 5 plus 4 plus 8 plus 6 is 23. You've got a control of 8. So you add 18, you add 10 to your control number, and that's 18. And like I had said earlier, you had to be pretty quick on your feet to be able to figure that out if you didn't know the rule. So slowing it down quickly, since we're here and talking about it, you take your control cut and you add 10 to it. But your control cut is not 8. Your control driver is 8. So you have to kind of work that in reverse. What number minus 9, which is your pin total here, will give you 8? Well, that's 17. So your control cut has to be 17 minus 10, so your control cut is 7. We know that we have a key that has a 5 cut and a 9 cut. We don't know if it's the master or if it's the operating key. So we've got a 5 in the first chamber on one key. We got a 9 in the second chamber on another key. Then we know that we've got a 7 in the control cut. So let's go through it. The control cut on the control key is 7. 7 plus 10, 10's the magic number, minus your plug total, which is 9. That means you're going to put an 8 control pin. 8 plus 9 is 17. 23 minus 17 is 6. That's how these numbers come into play. If you were to simply decide for yourself that you're going to learn how to do that, this would be a good document, albeit a wordy one. Given this day and age of the YouTube video, you'll be able to find other ways to do it, but the way I just said it is how it's done. The difference between A2 and A3 is that the magic number of 23 and 10, those numbers change. They become smaller numbers. Anyway, let's wrap up this video on camera. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Before we wrap this up, let's take a couple of dimensional properties of the Blockout Blade just for the sake of doing so. Overall length is 0.979, so just shy of 1 inch. The blade height is 0.322. 0.322. The blade height where it's been cut is 0.201. 0.201. The length of what's not been cut back, just roughly, is 0.25. This plateau is 0.25. Okay. The name Best has been synonymous with small format type work for 100 years. In fact, it was 1921, I believe, that Frank Best received a patent. Speaking of 1921, this is not that old, but not far. For the small format core, a patent, received a patent. And while that patent, which is on our site, on the manufacturer's page somewhere there, it's not the actual cylinder that is out there today. Its principle is demonstrated in that. as is, I believe, his inspiration from other existing key systems that were out there as well. Any questions on this Blockout Blade or any other best product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.